Paris, the city of lights, the city of love. But in October 2022, it became the city of grief. On an ordinary Friday afternoon, inside a quiet apartment block in the 19th arrondissement, police made a discovery so shocking it froze France in disbelief. A suitcase left near a courtyard with something inside. When officers unzipped it, they found the body of 12-year-old Lola Daviet. The horror of what happened next would ignite a national debate, expose cracks in France's immigration system, and lead to questions that still divide the country. This is the case that shattered Paris, the story of Lola Daviet. Lola was born on the 18th of July 2010, the youngest of two children. Her parents, Johan and Delphine, were the apartment building caretakers. They knew everyone, and everyone knew them. The family lived on site, their home was part of the job, and Lola's days revolved around school, friends and her love for dance. Lola was a student at the college Georges Brassens in France and was a champion in aerobics. It was a small, close-knit community, so when she didn't come home from school on the October the 14th, her mother instantly knew something was wrong. Calls went unanswered, texts were unread. By 5 p.m, panic replaced hope. Lola's mother, Delphine, posted a message on Facebook at 6:45 reporting Lola's disappearance, and by midnight, that panic had turned to horror. That night, around 11:30 p.m, a homeless man searching for recyclable materials noticed an abandoned suitcase outside the building. When he unzipped it, what he found would change the country forever. He alerted police immediately, and by midnight the courtyard was crawling with officers, detectives and forensic experts. The building, once a quiet home for dozens of families, became a sealed crime scene. Residents watched from their windows as flashing lights painted the walls blue and red. By dawn, the word spread. A young girl had been murdered inside their building, and investigators quickly realised this wasn't random. CCTV would soon become the key. Around 3:15 p.m, cameras caught a woman entering the complex carrying nothing unusual. Lola was seen entering the building at 3:20 p.m. 2 hours later, the woman was seen again, dragging a large suitcase out of the same building. She was identified as Dabia Bankired, a 24-year-old woman who was originally from Algeria. Witnesses said she'd been staying with her sister, who lived in the same building as the Daviets. Neighbours recalled her pacing the hallways that afternoon, talking to herself, acting strangely. The connection was immediate. She knew the building, she knew the family, and she'd been seen with the suitcase. Within 24 hours, Dabia was under arrest. According to the Bankiria's initial confession, she had lured Lola into her sister's apartment and ordered the girl to shower. Bankiria then assaulted Lola before taping her mouth. An autopsy revealed that Lola died from asphyxiation. She was also stabbed multiple times in the body and the neck, causing decapitation. The number 1 and 0 were mysteriously written on her feet. Police found duct tape and a box cutter in the apartment building's basement. Dabia's background raised eyebrows from the start. She had entered France legally in 2016 on a student visa, but she overstayed that visa. She had no prior criminal record, but was known to the police as a victim of domestic abuse in 2018. In August 2022, just 2 months before Lola's death, French authorities issued her an obligation to leave French territory, but it was never enforced. As she had no criminal record, she was not sent to a detention centre. Dabia stayed in the country, jobless, unstable, increasingly erratic. Her sister testified to investigators that Bankired had been making incoherent statements at night. Lola's mother, as caretaker of the apartment where Bankired's sister lived, rejected Bankired's request for a pass to enter the apartment on her own. Benkirad was not known to psychiatric services and was declared mentally fit to be interviewed by police. When police questioned her, her answer made little sense. She denied involvement, then admitted to being present, then changed the story again. At one point, she described events investigators later called fantastical. Her words seemed detached from reality, alternating between calmness and bizarre laughter. To officers, she appeared to be living in her own world. But her DNA was found. The evidence was overwhelming. Prosecutors charged her with murder, rape and acts of torture on a minor under 15, crimes carrying France's harshest penalties. It wasn't just a case anymore, it was a scandal. The reaction was instant and explosive. France was heartbroken, then furious. How could someone ordered to leave the country still be walking free? Within days, the name Lola Daviet became a rallying cry. Thousands gathered for vigils, laying flowers and candles across Paris. The hashtag Justice pour Lola trended for weeks. President Emmanuel Macron personally met with Lola's parents, calling the act unspeakable and barbaric. But politics soon followed tragedy. Right-wing figures used the case to attack immigration policy. Others accused them of exploiting a family's grief. Protests broke out. Debates raged on TV. Justice for Lola had become more than a plea for justice. It had become a symbol for everything wrong and everything fragile in French society. Behind the headlines, investigators quietly built their case. Over 40 CCTV angles tracked Daviet's movements through Paris, from the apartment block to metro stations and back. Witnesses placed her near the building multiple times, behaving erratically. Forensics matched her DNA to several items from the scene, yet the motive was unclear. In interviews, Daviet rambled about being humiliated and wanting revenge. Though against whom, or for what, no one understood. Benkirad fluctuated between accepting and denying responsibility, and said her account of committing the crime was actually a recall of a dream. At one point, she blamed the crime on an armed stranger or a ghost. When shown pictures of Lola's body, Benkirad coldly stated, "That leaves me indifferent. I was raped too, and I saw my parents die in front of me." Benkirad then implied that her motive was her dispute with Lola's mother. A psychiatric evaluation described her as mentally unstable, narcissistic, and suffering from delusional thinking. Still, experts ruled she was fit to stand trial. The murder of Lola Daviet became more than a headline. It became a mirror. It reflected the fears, frustrations and divisions running through modern France. For some, it was proof that immigration laws were broken. For others, evidence that politics could hijack grief. But for most, it was simply unbearable sadness. Across the country, parents held their children a little tighter. Schools held moments of silence. In her hometown, classmates planted a tree in her memory. Her parents, dignified and private, asked only one thing: that their daughter's name not to be used to spread hate. They wanted justice, nothing more, nothing less. After a week-long trial, Daviet Benkirad was sentenced on the 24th of October 2025 to life in prison without parole for the murder of Lola Daviet. The sentence is classed in France as real-life imprisonment. Benkirad is the first woman in France to receive this sentence since its introduction into French law in 1994. Only 4 other criminals have been sentenced under the same term, all of them men. Psychiatric evidence introduced at Benkirad's trial stated that she was of normal intelligence and that the trial was not suffering from any psychological trouble. When handing down the sentence, the chief judge stressed that the extreme cruelty of the criminal deeds and the real torture, further saying that the court had taken into account the indescribable psychological harm done to both the victim and her family. Benkirad asked the family for forgiveness. After it was identified that Ben-Gurion had ignored an order to leave France, political figures on the right criticised the government for the crime. Eric Poget of the Republicans told the Ministry of Justice that Lola lost her life because you didn't expel this national. President Emmanuel Macron met with Lola's parents. He condemned the murder as an act of evil, and the Minister of the Interior was present at Lola's funeral. The parents' attorney said they called on politicians to not exploit Lola's photography for political ends. Devastated by his daughter's passing, Lola's father Johan fell into alcoholism and separated from his wife, lost his job, and died from health complications on the 23rd of February 2024, aged just 49 years old. A girl whose life was just beginning, a suspect who should never have been there, a system that looked away, and a country left asking, could this have been prevented? This is CrimeTape, uncovering the stories behind the world's darkest crimes.